Yo, what's cracking? This is Daniel Walton, and this is the show for those who don't believe in limitations. So if you're ready to be better than you were yesterday and hit new levels mentally, physically, financially, or spiritually, it's time to go higher. Yeah, very exciting episode. We got Dr. G and Mick Emandi here on the podcast. They're bringing some very revolutionary technology that I'm super excited about. I'm very into health, ex-college athlete, did wrestling, took health to the highest level, like possibly that you can. And I've always been fascinated by biohacking, by, functional health and all these different things that you can do to improve your longevity, improve your health. And more than anything, as an entrepreneur, improve my performance. So why don't you guys kind of give us the breakdown? What are you guys doing over at HydroHeal? What is the HydroHeal and how is this device, impacting the health and wellness space?
Thank you. Go ahead, Mick.
Yeah, so I got aware of the technology a few years back, and it was primarily dominant in Japan, where most of the hospitals have hydrogen inhalation devices for their patients. It's a standard protocol for a lot of patients with cardiovascular disease and stroke, and even their ambulances have hydrogen machines where if you've been called to your home for a heart attack or a stroke, they're going to put you on hydrogen on the way to the hospital to minimize the impact of that emergency situation. And I personally tried it, and I had such a phenomenal reaction to it, whereby after doing it for just 20 minutes, that night I slept like a baby. I slept for 4 hours. It felt like I slept for 10. And the next day I had such clear cognitive function, such mental clarity, and such energy that I literally got almost a week's worth of work done in a matter of hours. And at that point, when I saw all the clinical studies supporting how hydrogen is able to help in so many different metabolic disease states, I basically took it up upon myself to spread the word among all the physicians in the United States.
Love that. So you're saying you can sleep for 4 hours and get the equivalence of 10 hours worth of sleep when you're connected to this hydrogen therapy?
I'm speaking myself. Yes, for myself, that's what I normally do. I don't normally sleep more than 4 hours a night. I usually jump out of bed. I don't have any alarm clock. I don't take any kind of stimulants and anything. And it works amazingly for me.
I would add to that if a person were to utilize molecular hydrogen inhalation prior to sleeping, that they would sleep more soundly, more robustly, more deeply, and wake up with greater energy in exactly the way that sleep is intended.
You get a much deeper REM sleep. I think that's where it all boils down to. If you get much better REM sleep, it really doesn't matter how long you actually have your eyes closed. It matters how much deep sleep you're actually getting.
Right. Yeah, it's all about REM sleep. That's something I'm aware of myself. I can tell when I don't hit that deep sleep, when I don't have those dreams, that I just wake up feeling a lot more tired than usual. So, Dr. G, what exactly is going on in the human body to, I guess, have this effect? How does this work from a science perspective?
Well, first of all, thanks for having us on the podcast. We're humbled and honored to be invited. And as far as mechanism of action, it's multifactorial. In the past, we had this whole idea of one disease, one cure, or one pathway. And what's super interesting about molecular hydrogen is that it affects multiple pathways along multiple gradients, and it creates a synergy and enhancement of all of your systems to repair, restore, and optimize over an arc of time. Molecular hydrogen, at its core, is the gasoline or the fuel necessary for our body's cellular engines called mitochondria to function appropriately. So these little engines, these mitochondria, they require a specific type of gasoline to create human gasoline called ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. That's the energy that we utilize, the currency that we utilize, that we derive from oxygen and glucose over the arc of time. So the mitochondria, these little engines, are responsible for creating our energy, but they themselves need energy, and that energy is hydrogen. Our mitochondria are literally hydrogen fuel machines.
So without hydrogen therapy, where are we naturally getting this? How do we naturally get that hydrogen that we need to stay alive and function?
Sure, that's a great question. So apparently when the human organism was designed or created, there was significantly greater hydrogen available in the atmosphere. And so our bodies are actually designed to utilize orders of magnitude more hydrogen that is currently available in our atmosphere. So to say, where are we getting the hydrogen? We're not. We're getting it in incredibly suboptimal and sub-physiologic amounts. And what's fascinating about it is when you allow yourself to have appropriate exposure to molecular hydrogen, almost immediately you will notice measurable improvements along gradients and areas of your life that had been lagging in the past. And, if you complain about something like, oh man, my sleep sucks, I'm just gaining weight, I have a lot of fatigue, one of your friends is going to say, well, you're just getting older. What did you think was going to happen? Right. And the reality is what's actually happening is we're missing a key critical element in our body's ability to repair, restore, and optimize over the arc of time. And one of those key critical elements is molecular hydrogen.
Wow. So you said you'll just notice things as you age start to not perform the same way. Like, what are the main things that, from this molecular hydrogen, what are those main areas of life that it's going to affect as you age and as these start to deplete the levels that they're normally used to?
Well, I'd say cognitive function and brain fog. This is just an artifact of time, right? And people say, again, oh, well, you're just getting older. It's the way it is.
Right.
But what they're really saying is that age is much more than a measure of just the passage of time. It's a measure of the disease, dysfunction, degradation, and destruction that all of the pathways of our body that we utilize to create what we call life start to become impaired. Your thinking, your ability to calculate, your ability to respond, verbal fluency, your ability to recover from workout or just a stressful day at work. All of these things require energy. All of that energy comes from one source. That source is the mitochondria. And so by enhancing the body's mitochondria, you are enhancing every single system in your body that requires mitochondrial function. And what are those systems? Every system.
Wow. I'm going to have to order one of these devices from you, Mick.
For sure.
Speaking of ordering them, what is the best place to get these? If are you selling these to homes or where are these devices? Where's this technology going?
It's going everywhere here, Daniel. We are using the technology for my own patients across the country, primarily for my oncology patients, my patients with neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia. And we're basically working first on slowing down the progression. And in months 5 to 7, would you say, Dr. Carter, regaining cognitive function for people that are previously diagnosed as terminal.
Yeah, that's accurate. And here's the fascinating thing about that. In the dark ages of the 20th century, when I went to school and my search engine was the Yellow Pages, we were told, once neurological tissue is damaged, it cannot be repaired. That is a complete, total fallacy. And we decode the human genome in 1998. We progress. Biology goes from an analog technology to a digital technology or an information technology. It doubles every unit of time. Today, we now know that when you can supply your body with the tools, the fuel, and the instructions to repair, you can repair almost everything in your body, including neurological tissue. And as it specifically relates to neurological patients in mixed practice, patients who have things like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia are all experiencing slowing, stopping, and in some cases reversal of these previously debilitating diseases for which there were no hope for the patient or for the caregivers of the patient, the family members of the patient.
Wow.
So it's really quite astonishing.
That's powerful. And you're saying these are noticeable within 5 to 7 months, or how fast are these?
That's an average. Oh, okay. I mean, obviously it's going to be how deep is the patient in their own end zone and how intensely is the patient utilizing the therapy and what is the constellation of other therapies that the patient is utilizing. There really isn't one disease, one cure. There's multiple pathways to disease states, and then there's multiple pathways to enhancement. What we're suggesting is that one of the main key critical elements that we completely missed in the 20th century was the role of molecular hydrogen in the human body, which wasn't even truly discovered until about 2007. And since then, there's been about 2,700 clinical studies, give or take, that show how on every system your body can benefit from appropriate physiologic exposure to molecular hydrogen over appropriate doses and time frames. And so, it wouldn't be appropriate to say in every single case 4 or 5 months the patient's going to experience role reversal of their neurological degradation, but that's what we're seeing on average. Is that fair?
Yeah, that is. So it's going to depend on how severe their neurological degradation is.
Absolutely.
And then you also mentioned how intense their hydrogen therapy treatments are. that sounds kind of intense to somebody who's never done this before. What is an intense hydrogen therapy? Do they have to do workouts? Like, what exactly is that?
Yeah, it's super easy. It's actually similar to one breathing oxygen, except it's a different gas.
Right.
So if you've ever seen people inhale oxygen, obviously
Yeah.
the machine is totally different and the technology is totally different. But because we have oxygen in our air, those oxygen machines are just concentrating the oxygen that's in the air already and then delivering it to you at a very high volume. Whereas when we're making hydrogen, we're taking water, which is primarily distilled water, and we're using a electrolysis process incorporating rods that have a substantial amount of platinum and titanium. And through this electrolysis process, it's turning this water into gas. H2O is water. Then when it's turned into gas, it's turned into H2 and O. And the O dissipates through the top of the machine, like we have here. And the hydrogen is channeled through the tubes here so that you can actually breathe it just like you would oxygen. I have a tube here that I can show you real quick.
Yeah, you have the actual device right there. So pretty small. Like you could fit this under your desk.
Yeah.
You could fit this pretty much at any clinic, any office space, anywure.
Yeah,
100%.
This is a little coffee table. Actually, it's our other machine is sitting on top of it, but it's that small. And
Wow.
pretty
So
much,
you just pour water into it and run it?
Yep. It's running right now, and this has a little cannula here. You just put it here, and then you put it over your ears, and that's it. And you're in therapy that quickly.
Right. And so by intensity, I mean the dosing of this is calculated based on all of the clinical studies. This particular device is delivering what's called 600 milliliters of molecular hydrogen per minute, which is an appropriate physiologic dose. And so the longer that the person allows themselves to be exposed to the molecular hydrogen, the more thoroughly their 38 trillion cells are going to experience saturation through the alveoli of the lungs, the bloodstream, and then by extension, the rest of the body.
Yeah, and when it does get through the lungs into the bloodstream, the plasma of your bloodstream is carrying to all the trillions of cells throughout your body from your head down to your toes.
Right.
And the first thing that it does is it works as a super antioxidant. So all the toxins, all the chemicals, all the pesticides, seed oils, and toxins essentially that are in our body trigger the formation of free radicals. And these free radicals take over our body and destroy our healthy cells, and they do something called oxidative damage. And that oxidative damage leads to inflammation. So that's why we take antioxidants to basically suppress or neutralize these free radicals. Unfortunately, we have billions of free radicals being formed every day. And the one capsule of vitamin E or vitamin C that's an antioxidant doesn't destroy billions of free radicals as an antioxidant. So hydrogen, with its dosing, is able to generate as much, and if not more, antioxidants in just 15 minutes of breathing it in than you do have as far as trillions of cells in your body. So you're actually able to generate more hydrogen molecules inside of your body in 15 minutes than you have cells in your body. And for that reason, it's a significant concentration of hydrogen that's able to scavenge and neutralize all the free radicals that we're generating every single day to suppress oxidative damage and inflammation. So that's the first thing that it does. And one of the great things that hydrogen does is because it's a conduit for an antioxidant, there's no other really wellness tool that's out there that can compete with hydrogen. There's nothing else that does it. I mean, glutathione IV would be comparable, but how many people can get a glutathione IV every single day?
Right.
That's impossible.
Yeah, I mean, the IVs cost $100, $200 a pop per session, and they would need to do that, you're saying, every day to get a comparable therapy.
One 15-minute session on this is equivalent to having a glutathione IV.
So hydrogen
antioxidant activity.
So as far as the hydrogen, it's fuel for everything that happens in the body, and it's also natural antioxidant.
Exactly.
So you're not just getting the antioxidant effects that some of these other supplements might be getting, but you're also just fueling every other function in your body, and it's benefiting from that.
That's exactly correct. So one of the things that's fascinating is in the 20th century, we were told that all reactive oxygen species are bad. Therefore, we need to carpet bomb the body with these antioxidants. And so, they come up with, trillions of pills. You get a vitamin shop, you get a wall of confusing color. You have no idea what to do. And you buy something, you throw it at the wall, you see what sticks. Maybe you feel something, maybe you don't, right? Well, when we decoded the human genome in 1998, we discovered that, hey, you know what? A lot of these reactive oxygen species are not only not harmful, We need those. And if what we do is we, with wanton abandon, start carpet bombing the body with these nutritional antioxidants, we're actually interrupting appropriate cellular signaling. Now, what's fascinating is the two most harmful free radicals are hydroxyl radical and peroxynitrate radical, and hydrogen selectively targets only the two most harmful reactive oxygen species, leaving the reactive oxygen species necessary for appropriate cellular function to do their job. That is incredible.
Yeah, that is. So how is this different than, like hydrogen water? I mean, that's blown up over the last year or two. What makes this different? Why not just do a hydrogen water bottle?
Do you want that, Mick, or you want me to?
Yeah, I've answered this question 1,000 times. So I'm pretty much used to it. People say, I'm doing hydrogen already. I have this hydrogen water bottle. I don't know if it's working, but I feel pretty good and whatnot after a few weeks or months of taking it. And they're talking about what everybody else is experiencing, right? They think it's helping. They don't know how much. And the real answer is this. Hydrogen water has a very, very minuscule amount of hydrogen, about 0.8 milligrams of hydrogen. Now, when you breathe in the hydrogen through the HydroHeal device in just 15 minutes, you're getting in excess of 750 milligrams of hydrogen. You divide 750 by 0.8, you get to a number around 930. So roughly almost, if you did 20 minutes, it'll be well over 1,000. So in 20 minutes, essentially, breathing this hydrogen inhalation device, HydroHeal, you're getting over 1,000 glasses of hydrogen-rich water. And for that reason, you're able to have substantial benefits right away. And you feel much more energetic within a matter of 1 to 2 days. You have much clearer cognitive function. You have amazing sleep, and you're able to just get more done in less time.
Yeah.
And
wow.
So to recover faster too.
Yes.
Yeah. So then, I mean, you've been in this space for a long time, Dr. G. I've been a health enthusiast for decades now. Mick, you as well. You guys have seen lots of miracle devices come and go. Would you say that maybe these hydrogen bottles might fall into that category of like, is it more gimmicky and they're not getting the full effect that they need to be getting from hydrogen therapy?
I would agree that they are not getting the full effect from hydrogen therapy. It's not that the molecular hydrogen water bottle isn't working. It's doing exactly as advertised if it's a real bottle, right?
Right.
It's just doing it at 1,000 times less efficiency than inhaling molecular hydrogen molecules through an inhalation device at appropriate dosages and flow rate. So in terms of, just think about it, brother. You would have to drink greater than 900 bottles of appropriately dosed, appropriate quantity molecular hydrogen water, perfect hydrogen water, to equal 15 to 20 minutes of 600 mLs of inhalation absorbed through the alveoli of the lungs. I mean,
wow.
I'm almost 60, dude. I don't know if I've ever drank 900 bottles of water in my entire life.
Yeah, that's a lot. So what you're saying is the hydrogen water bottles, they work. They're doing what they're claiming. It's just for the therapeutic benefit, it's nearly impossible to achieve a therapeutic benefit through hydrogen water consumption.
Yeah, correct. I'm sorry, Mick. I'd like to add that the data indicates that the platinum membrane on the appropriate hydrogen water bottles lasts about 100 hours. 100 hours. Now, after the 100 hours, the thing still bubbles. You think you're still getting hydrogen, but you're not getting anything but fancy bubbly water.
Toxic gases, actually.
Right.
So you need to throw those things away after a few uses.
And then
There's no warning sign saying it's not working, by the way.
Now, what about the old, I can't even remember how young I was. I was still living at my parents' house and heard about hydrogen therapy, adding like hydrogen peroxide to water in micro doses. Have you guys heard of that?
Yeah. So hydrogen peroxide has some benefits, but too much of a good thing can be bad with hydrogen peroxide. With hydrogen, by the way, you can't have too much of it. You can basically be on inhalation of hydrogen for hours, 5, 10, 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
And
wow.
There's literally zero side effects or negative.
You can't overdose?
Situation.
You can't overdose.
You can't overdose. Yeah. So there's nothing.
What effects would somebody
in the universe?
Okay. So aside from the positive effects internally that people might not be able to feel and notice, are there any effects that they might feel and notice, or are they just going to feel better?
No, like I said earlier, within 1 to 2 sessions of doing the hydrogen, most people have amazing sleep, which is a big problem for most adults.
Yeah.
Amazing cognitive function, much better cognitive clarity, and really a boatload of energy. I mean, within a few days, you're essentially turned into the Energizer Bunny.
I would add to that, the sedentary person who's not acclimated to, doing a quantified self thing, is going to notice a generalized malaise, right, over an arc of time. And by utilizing molecular hydrogen, they're going to notice a generalized enhancement of their overall state of feeling. But somebody like you, somebody like us, who's into biohacking, who's into performance optimization, you're already measuring, different metrics upon which you are gauging how successful your strategies are. Okay, I myself do resistance training and cardiovascular, and I noticed after 48 hours of 2 hours of inhalation of this, so I did 2 hours of inhalation for 2 days. On my third day, I did my maximum androgen receptor site recruitment. On my resistance, I went up 15% on my resistance training. I went up
massive.
38% on my cardiovascular high intensity interval training, like it was frickin' magic. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how incredibly longer and with greater intensity I was able to do cardio, which I hate cardio. I hate it.
Me too. It's the worst.
It's actually made it enjoyable because you're succeeding.
And I will add to your previous question that, hydrogen, you can actually feel the effects or notice the effects even if you're a healthy person. If you're having metabolic condition like cancers, congestive heart failure, or COPD, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, all of these conditions, you already have a deficit in your activity. So the hydrogen will actually be very noticeable very quickly when you have more deficits in your body. Now, a lot of the clinical studies that were done over the last few decades have been done with just hydrogen-rich water, which we talked about earlier, that it's a very minuscule amount of hydrogen. But in spite of it being so minuscule, they've had tremendous positive results. Now, with hydrogen inhalation, with the HydroHeal, we have exponentially more hydrogen available into the body. And so that's why we're getting such dramatic results. Much faster, much better, much more pronounced than all of those clinical studies, because you're just getting so much more concentration of hydrogen.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And you said that this has been technology that's been used in the healthcare system in Japan for years now.
Not just Japan, a lot of the civilized countries.
Yeah, many other countries. More of the studies have been done in countries where they have more public healthcare systems.
Right.
America's a private healthcare system, so if you're not going to make a lot of money from it, you're not going to do much in the way of clinical trials. But most of these clinical trials have come from Europe, from Japan, from other countries around the world, and they're just phenomenal what they're able to show with hydrogen. It's amazing for skin health also. It does make you younger from the inside out when you're breathing it in. And we have the option of actually making you younger from the outside in also. And we have a mask here. I'll just show it to you real quick. That's a mask that uses hydrogen and steam to give you a deep facial. So for the med spas, it's amazing and whatnot. But for IV clinics, people that have hangovers, for example, after about half hour, you basically jumping out of your IV chair as if you're a new person.
Yeah.
It really does. But by itself, it's able to take care of hangovers, and it has a dramatic effect on people that are suffering from hangovers. But with IV, you turn into Superman super quick.
So this has been used by public health care systems elsewhere outside of the United States. It's been documented. There's some big biohackers as well.
Yes.
Dave Asprey, Gary Brecka, they're implementing hydrogen therapy. Why is nobody else talking about this?
The reason why not many people are talking about it is because the public has to first get introduced to this new technology, right? And it's new to everybody. But unfortunately, they've gone down the path of providing the hydrogen in a very minuscule manner, on not really having the ability to work with a company like ours where we can actually provide it at a much more exponential level of concentration. And so maybe at some point we will work with David Asprey or Gary Brecka and people of those.
Well, if there's any time to get with Gary Brecka, now would be the time after his whole fiasco with 10X just blown up. Did you see that?
Yes.
Well, yeah, things happen and everything, that you never know what the story is behind the story, but
sure. There's always two sides to the
I had a
story.
really great meeting with Gary Brecka last week, and we're talking about things in the future.
Love that. I mean, that would be somebody great to speak about this. So then, I mean, you mentioned the cellular level, it coming in, impacting your skin and reverse aging, essentially. I mean, this isn't just I'm dying, I have neurodegenerative diseases happening to me. This is like, you can use this as a protocol in the beauty space. I mean, med spas would love something like this. Are there any med spas that are doing anything like this?
Yeah, we have several med spas that we're working with right now. They're getting phenomenal results. Their patients are, the people that are well, for example, are reporting just great sleep, great energy, great mental clarity, just being like full of life. And it's also doing a lot of things in the background. We all take vitamins and we know they're good for us, but we don't really feel anything, right? Some people might.
Well, you know why, right?
Huh?
You know why most people don't feel anything for vitamins?
Please tell me.
Over 57% of vitamins are never even make it into your system. They're not bioavailability. There's no assimilation that happens. You're really, when you take most vitamins, you're paying for expensive piss at the end of the day. Is really what you're paying for.
That is 100% accurate. And I think that, to your point, that is why, molecular hydrogen is such an integral component of a person's well-rounded biohacking regimen, because one of the things that you're seeking to do, right, is take vitamins for antioxidant activity, except the antioxidant activity at best sucks. That's a technical medical term. And then it's inappropriate because it's shutting down reactive oxygen species necessary for appropriate cellular signaling and the redox reaction of your body's metabolism. So by utilizing molecular hydrogen, because it's the smallest molecule in the universe, it can pass through all the membranes of the cells without a carrier molecule and can go deep into the cells. It can merge with the mitochondria, repairing, restoring, and optimizing the walls of the mitochondria, allowing for the electron transport chain to function more effectively and efficiently, and go into the nucleus of the cells to help to power the nucleus in terms of optimal efficiency and telomere lengthening. What's also very interesting is there is not a single antioxidant that can pass the blood-brain barrier for people who have brain inflammation like TBI or Parkinson's. However, molecular hydrogen, when introduced to the brain through earphones like this, can pass through the tympanic membrane and go directly into the brain because it is such a small molecule, which is why in other countries they're utilizing molecular hydrogen to slow, stop, and reverse the degradation of the substantia nigra, which is that part of the brain that's destroyed in Parkinson's.
Why don't supplements work?
Exactly what you said. Poor bioavailability, poor quality. Even if, the person's gut is operating under perfect conditions, which whose is, right? The quality of the supplementation is poor, and the absorption is poor, and the utilization is inappropriate. That's why.
Right. And even when you get a high quality supplement like a liposomal supplement or nano encapsulated, the shelf life of these degrade too drastically by the time you as the consumer actually get the manufactured product to your system.
Yes, that's a very advanced observation, but that's 100% true.
And then, because all these studies around supplements, they're being done in the lab right then, like not a supplement that's been possibly sitting on the shelves in heated boxes and storage units for months, possibly over a year in some instances. So the effect is noticeable when you aren't getting that shelf stable, supplement that you should be getting. Now with the hydrogen therapy, what is the assimilation? What is the bioavailability when you do the hydrogen inhalation therapy?
Go ahead.
Well, what's amazing is that when it gets into your bloodstream, when you're breathing it in, we also, by the way, do have the ability to have the machine make hydrogen-rich water too, because that's also beneficial, because putting the hydrogen when you're drinking it and it going directly into the gut, digestive tract, it's neutralizing the gut biome and suppressing inflammation throughout your digestive tract, and pushing the hydrogen to all the organs that are around the digestive tract. So we encourage our patients to do both, breathing it in and drinking it, because 2 + 2 in this scenario equals 5. And, when you're breathing it in, when it goes through your alveoli into your lungs and goes to the bloodstream and then to all the cells in your body, within 3 minutes, that's saturating your cells throughout your body. And so it's a pretty quick turnaround, just like you would breathe in oxygen and that oxygen would go into your cells. That's the same speed at which hydrogen is able to get into your cells also. It's just a matter of minutes. And, there's another aspect of hydrogen, it does, as Dr. Carter was saying, that it does help with supercharge the mitochondria. And when it does supercharge the mitochondria, it facilitates cellular recycling and regeneration. And when we're trying to facilitate better well-being and whatnot, there's an area of wellness where people do fasting, right? And when they fast, one would engage in a fast for up to 3 days or 3 days or more in order to get into a state of autophagy. I think a lot of you know what autophagy is. And so with that state of autophagy, where you're able to facilitate super fast recycling and regeneration because your entire body is going to emergency mode, if you will, you're able to generate a lot more new healthy cells and recycle and get rid of all of our zombie cells, as they call it. And what fasting takes in order to get to autophagy in 3 days, hydrogen does in 3 minutes. So that's how much faster it's able to facilitate a beneficial effect on your body.
Yeah, so that makes sense now, because for anybody who fasts and experiences the benefits of fasting, I do all the time. I do mostly intermittent fasting, but I notice just my energy levels are higher. I'm sharper, more clear. Everything is performing at a much better level. Am I hungry? Yeah, but it's worth the pain of hunger for the output and performance. So you're saying that a couple minutes of hydrogen therapy is going to replicate the same effects that you feel from fasting, from intermittent fasting, which is called autophagy.
Well, you don't get into a state of autophagy until you're fasting for 3 days or more.
Wow.
So intermittent fasting has other benefits, which Dr. Carter can talk about. But, when you get into autophagy, you have to get into a state where your body's also almost going into emergency mode and say, we're going to die. We need to do something to live. If you can carry that on, Dr. Carter.
Yeah, I mean, you're shifting from a glucose burning or sugar burning machine to a fat burning machine. And this is going to allow your body's immune system, like your white blood cells, to act in essence like Pac-Man and go through the body and look for debris, junk, inappropriately, cells that are not operating appropriately, and break them down for reutilization. That's the benefits of intermittent fasting or fasting and going into autophagy. All of that has to be powered by something. That something is mitochondria. And those mitochondria are powered by hydrogen. Does that make sense?
So that the normal general public can understand. Simply, just like an electric vehicle, electric vehicles have blown up and they understand how, a lot of them are very fast when they're fully charged. But as that battery starts to die, they lose performance. Essentially, you're getting a fully charged battery at all times with this hydrogen therapy. So you're at max performance. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that regular utilization of appropriately dosed molecular hydrogen inhalation does exactly what you're saying. You think about one of those bars on a video game, right? Full power, medium power, low power, right? Well, your power is based on your mitochondria's health and number, right? So what you want to do is you want to make sure all of your mitochondria that you have right now are functioning at peak performance, right? And then you want to send a signal to your body that says, I'm still relevant here. I'm still part of the group of guys that goes out and kills the woolly mammoth. So I need more mitochondria, and I need you to inspire something called mitogenesis. So after the repair, restoration, and optimization of your existing mitochondria by molecular hydrogen, that is what triggers the signal to tell the body, we've maxed out our existing mitochondria. Let's start to create more of these because we're still clearly relevant. Does that help you?
Yeah, that does. So then when is the best time to be using hydrogen therapy? Is it in the middle of the day, in the morning, first thing when you're up, right before bedtime?
It can be used any time of day or night, but if you are looking to optimize performance, like physical performance, for example, you'll want to do it at least, before your activity, to optimize your energy levels, and after your activity to optimize recovery. So with hydrogen, people are able to recover literally twice as fast as without hydrogen, and the clinical studies also support what I just said. And we're using it for athletes, we're using it for celebrities, we're using it for people that are terminal also.
So then how does this stack up to some of the other biohacking treatments out there? I mean, red light therapy is blowing up right now. How does this compare?
I mean, photobiomodulation through red light therapy is great. Okay, you do have to buy the device, and to get optimal performance, you have to get greater surface area of your skin. So you basically need to buy a red light therapy bed. Those things are thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. You got to place them in your home, or you have to go to a facility. You have to utilize it. And it's only stimulating the mitochondria on the surface of the skin and slightly below it. Whereas molecular hydrogen, because it's being absorbed through the alveoli of the lung, is literally touching every single cell in your body over the arc of time. Something like cold plunge also requires a device that you either got to travel to or you have to have in your home with special equipment. And I don't know if you've ever done cold plunge, but it's awful. I mean,
it sucks every time.
It's not fun while you're doing it.
No.
Okay. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy. I mean, you got to get in a cloth coffin that you had to buy. You had to get special wiring for your home. You have to have special accommodations for your home, or you have to go to a place and sign up for a membership. So while all of these therapies have their place as a component of a well-rounded performance optimization strategy in biohacking, you have to think about how much juice am I getting for my squeeze, okay? And in terms of convenience and efficiency and effectiveness, molecular hydrogen is going to be all of those, hands down. It's going to be all of them, hands down. It's a tiny device. You can carry it from room to room. You can stick it in a suitcase when you're on business trips, okay? And you can inhale it as little or as long as you want, depending on what your goals are. To answer your question, when is the best time of day, is going to be dependent, like Mick said, on what is your goal. If my goal is to be able to function after a workout that I've taken to complete and total failure, then I'm going to do it 30 minutes before my workout and right after my workout. If I go to failure on resistance training, I'm wiped out for like 45 minutes. I don't know about you. I mean, I clearly work out. But if I do molecular hydrogen right after a total failure workout, I'm back in the saddle in 7 minutes. 7 minutes or less.
Why aren't more athletes doing hydrogen therapy?
They're going to be.
Yeah.
They're going to be. They're not aware of it.
Right.
And we are actively promoting it with some very prominent athletes right now and celebrities. And it's just a matter of getting the word out, because this technology hasn't been available until now. And this technology is something that nobody has to really worry about, because it comes with like a 5-year warranty, which is unheard of in the wellness space. And it lasts for 8,000 hours, which is 3 hours a day for the next 8 years.
Wow.
Before any parts need to even be replaced. It requires zero maintenance, just adding distilled water when the water gets low enough. And pretty much a gallon of distilled water for $2 at any grocery store will last you about a month or two.
Yeah.
And so it has very little to negligible running costs, no maintenance, amazing warranty, and the ease of use is what's most powerful, as Dr. Carter says. It's just a matter of putting on the breathing tube on your nose when you're watching TV, while you're working on at your desk on your computer, or while you're scrolling through social media.
Right.
Super easy. And that's what's so powerful about this therapy for my patients who are terminal, because they can do it without any kind of infringement on their daily routine. Everybody watches TV, or at least are sedentary for a few hours a day, and they're getting all the benefits while sitting back and relaxing. There's nothing else in the universe that does that.
This is great for athletes. You said some athletes are even getting on board with it.
Yeah, NFL,
why aren't gym
NBA. Yep.
Go ahead. Who's already doing this?
Well, I can't say unless I get another release, but several athletes.
There are some. Okay. Understood.
Because some of them are patients also. So
understood. So then why aren't gyms offering this to their members?
We just had several of the UFC gyms buy many machines, and we're working with several other gyms on a national level.
So this might be the hottest new piece of equipment for any high-end gym that might already have a red light therapy bed or a cold plunge. This is the thing that they need, that they should probably buy 2 of, so they can run 2 of them at the same time.
By far. Dr. Carter mentioned what those alternative therapies do. I will say that, all of the things that he mentioned, red light, cold plunge, hyperbaric oxygen, are primarily meant to stimulate the mitochondria. Okay? Mitochondrial optimization. Now, none of those do what we were talking about before that glutathione does. That's one of the main things that hydrogen does. Basically destroying and neutralizing all the free radicals that are generated every day, the UV damage, the degradation of all of the organs in our body, the tissue in our body, the metabolic tidal wave of free radicals that are just destroying our body from our head to our toe. None of that is being addressed by any other biohacking modality, except for taking IVs of antioxidants like glutathione and NAD. And those are not cheap and not convenient, and you can't do it forever. So being able to have a therapy that costs almost nothing after you buy the device is just a no-brainer.
And you control it completely. You control the amount.
Yeah, and you can do it without needing a nurse to inject you. Right. I mean, stick a needle in you and you're sitting in a bed for an hour for IV.
And it's completely safe. They can't overdose from it. Now, for like a gym, how many people can use this device at one time?
So we have 2 nozzles on each machine. So on this particular machine, this one side has one nozzle. There's another nozzle on the other side. So 2 people or patients can use the machine at the same time.
Right.
Okay. Man, this is going to be in every professional sports team is going to be having one of these for their athletes before game and after game.
They're going to be on this like you don't even know. Yeah.
Now, I mean, a lot of athletes understand how powerful steroids and peptides and some of these other things can be for their performance, but they can't do that because they're going to get popped. Though it'll come up in their system that, all the regulations around that, they're not allowed to dope. So would anything come up that would prevent an athlete from passing any tests from doing hydrogen therapy?
So WADA does, which is the testing authority for athletes or professional sports, they don't have anything addressing hydrogen in any event. Hydrogen, after you breathe it in, within 1 hour, it dissipates from your bloodstream and goes into your cells. So after an hour, you won't even notice it.
Yeah.
There's no way to test for it.
Wow. So why aren't more high-performing CEOs, business executives doing this, and how can they get a hold of something like this?
I would say they're not doing it because they haven't been exposed to it and they're not aware of it and they haven't tried it. Because if they did, especially high-performance people, they would immediately jump on board. How can they get it, Mick?
Yeah, so we have it available through our website, hydroheal.com, and it's as simple as, purchasing it on our website. We do have machines that range from $3,500 for a budget machine to $6,500 for more of a person or a clinic that wants to get the optimal benefits in short a period of time as possible. We do have much faster machine. It's a VIP machine and it's made for medical centers, and that's $20,000. The first machine, the $3,500 machine, is 300 milliliters per minute of pure medical grade hydrogen. And the second machine, which is a $6,500 machine, is 600 mLs per minute. And that's also the pure hydrogen. And that's the first machine, as I mentioned, is $3,500 and it's 300 mLs per minute, and it's about a 30-minute session. The second machine, which is $6,500 and 600 mLs, is a 15-minute session. And the third machine, which is 3,000 mLs per minute, and its treatment time is 4 minutes. So when you're talking about athletes being able to get this done quickly where their time is money, sitting on it for 5 minutes, before their workout and after their workout, before their game or after their game,
while they're icing,
is super easy, right? When you have multiple players on the machine, in a matter of an hour.
And any business executive, they could just do this straight from their office. They could have one of these
phone calls.
Yeah. I mean, the $20,000 machine, we had several people buy it. They've had jets. They put it on their jet, their yacht. They have friends that they want to be able to show to. They're optimizing after you make enough money, what else is there? Right. Your health and well-being, right? So for them, this is a no-brainer too.
Yeah. I mean, health is the ultimate flex now.
Yeah, 100%. Can't be rich from your hospital bed.
I mean, there's a lot of discussion about longevity, and absolutely longevity is important, right? But, what if whatever the strategy is didn't get you one more day of life, but you could get 15% more production out of your day, 20%, 30% more production out of your day? How would that alter and improve your life experience if, because of regular and appropriate utilization of molecular hydrogen, you're now functioning at 15 to 30% greater capacity each and every day of utilization? How does that alter your life? Because it's challenging for people to look at the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine and Biohacking and listen to, influencers who are saying, appropriately, hey, we should all be able to live to about 130, right? And it's a little far out for a lot of people, but it's not far out at all to say utilization of a device like the hydroheal at appropriate doses and frequency can get you X amount percentage more production time out of each and every day. That's where I think the real value is, for me at least.
But it's very cost effective for businesses to be able to incorporate it into their businesses and, generate a fair amount of revenue from it.
I mean, Mick, you maybe a little moment to brag. You're quite I would say you're very dialed. You have a lot of systems, a lot of businesses that you run. Why don't you kind of talk about your story, what your day-to-day looks like and how hydrogen therapy has affected you? You're a very high performing CEO, business owner.
Yeah, I mean,
how did you discover this and how has it helped you?
The hydrogen, each session that you have has a residual effect of about 3 to 4 days. By day 3, if I'm traveling and I can't get, I'm not in one place, traveling all over the world or around the country and stuff, it's a little difficult sometimes to get onto my hydrogen machine, and I just feel it, and I just block out time and get on my machine, and I'm sitting there for a few hours and I'm back in the saddle like that within a few hours after that. So it's really trying to, I normally use it for a few hours every day when I'm sitting in my computer, sitting on the phone, talking to people at my computer. I don't watch TV, but, when I'm at my computer and stuff, it's easy to just put it on and you're in therapy. And you're getting, very high doses of this hydrogen into your body. And it has such a dramatic effect. I mean, it's changed my life. I'm so much more productive. Started several companies in the last year because of the hydrogen. And these are companies that are pretty groundbreaking also. So, hydrogen itself is pretty phenomenal. Because some new clinical studies actually came out, I started a company. There's a beauty company that actually, it's called Look 25. It's one of my newer companies, and it actually reverses wrinkles in 6 to 8 weeks. And you see dramatic results in as little as 2 to 3 weeks. And it's using hydrogen and a patent technology using hydrogen and oxygen to basically atomize a mist of water, which is super concentrated with hydrogen and oxygen. And that hydrogen is able to penetrate deep into the dermal layers of skin and supercharge your fibroblasts, which produce much higher collagen and elastin, which helps reverse wrinkles. And it also normalizes oily skin and fades away age spots. It's miraculous what it's able to do. And that's something we just launched also. And, it's going really well.
So how many businesses are you invested in or partnered in, and what's your day-to-day look like? So for all the CEOs and high performers like myself out there that are curious, like give us an analysis, high level overview of what comes to your plate every day and what you have to manage and how you're able to do it all.
As far as businesses, I do have about 6 businesses, and they're all, full steam ahead, if you will. The hydrogen and the Look 25 are some of the newer businesses. I have medical practices in areas of mental health, pain management, and weight loss also. And, just started up a tech company that is really going to change the face of email marketing throughout the world. So, we're doing a bunch of really innovative things, and hydrogen is a key component of that for people like myself to be able to really optimize their productivity and their well-being.
Right. So you run multiple 7, 8-figure businesses and you get to bed at 1 a.m. You said you wake up at 5 a.m. ready to go. How do you do it?
I just wake up. I don't use alarm clocks. I just pop out of bed. I my circadian rhythm is dialed in so that, I wake up right about when I'm supposed to. I'm able to actually facilitate something called lucid dreaming also. That's pretty powerful tool. If some of you, if you don't already use it, definitely encourage you to Google it and try to, take advantage of that. It really empowers you for all the challenges that you have in your life, whether it be personal or business.
Wait, how do you lucid dream? What's the process for that?
It's basically taking your conscious mind and going into your subconscious and using your subconscious to work around any kind of challenges that you're having in your real life. And it's pretty powerful.
How'd you learn that?
Practice.
Practice?
Yeah. You basically you're going to sleep thinking about a specific challenge that you're trying to overcome. And when you get into your subconscious, when you go into deep REM sleep, which, I can do in 5 minutes, I can go in deep REM sleep and then go and tackle that challenge and really navigate through many different scenarios and be able to find something that actually works, and then be able to wake up and say, oh, okay, that's what I really needed, and go back to sleep, go back in deep REM sleep, and finish off the night.
So you're able to perform at a high level every day, feel sharp. And just so you guys know, Mick will literally call me at 10 o'clock at night, and I'm in California, so that's 1 a.m. his time. And then he's up on it sharp every day. You would never notice that he only gets about 4 hours of sleep every night, but the hydrogen therapy seems to be working.
Well, I think Dr. Carter's in the same boat too. He doesn't sleep much either. He's traveling all over Florida, and he's got literally 100 patients every day that he's talking to all over the country.
So you're on the 4-hour sleep regimen as well, too, Dr. Carter.
I mean, yeah, that's probably my average. I think sleeping is a necessary evil. I wish I didn't have to sleep. I think it's a horrible waste of time, but it is what it is, right? So if you're going to be there, you might as well maximize it. And that's the advantage of being able to stick a cannula up your nose or earphones on your ears and just passively absorb molecular hydrogen. I don't lucid dream, but I have watched this dude say, well, we got to come up with something by tomorrow. Let me do some lucid dreaming. And the next day he comes up with some banging winner. I'm like, what the hell? So whatever it is, I've seen it work. I will tell you that, as a rule of thumb, I'll probably get a little hate for this. Doctors are not good businessmen. Okay. And I think the synergy of being a provider and being able to work with somebody that is really got his finger on the pulse of business and marketing and infrastructure of businesses, it just makes your job as a doctor way, way, way easier. Basically I just show up and talk to people, and all the hard work is done over there.
I would agree with you. I specialize in medical marketing for med spas and telehealth businesses. And most of the doctors, great people, very knowledgeable and specialized in what they there for, which is the medical aspect. But when it comes to the business aspect, yeah, they didn't study a single thing of that in college and in school. And sometimes you have to learn the hard way.
Yeah. And it's very profitable for businesses like med spas, which you're tuned to. The ROI on something like this incorporated into the business is literally 1 month. So
yeah,
it's a no-brainer for med spas, IV clinics, longevity doctors to be able to enhance and supercharge the therapies that they're already doing, in addition to adding more revenue to their practice on something that can be provided on an a la carte basis. A lot of med spas and IV clinics have subscription programs and things of that nature.
Right.
This really elevates their ability to charge a lot more for those programs and get people onto their highest level of programs, while at the same time providing a significant benefit to their patients or customers and supercharging their existing modalities, where they're able to essentially get so much more, faster results for everything that they're already doing, from healing to energy levels to optimizing their recovery. All of these things are just...
This is the hottest thing to hit med spas and IV clinics. Why do so few actually have this?
Exposure and awareness.
Correct.
Yeah, exposure and awareness. I would say that, I owned an IV stem cell clinic where we also did nutrient-based, like Myers cocktail IVs. I've done, hundreds of these things. And, I'd get up after an IV session and say, I don't know, I guess I feel better. I'm not sure. But if you do the IV in conjunction with molecular hydrogen, your patient's going to get up feeling noticeably different. So the tactile awareness of, I just got this IV and I'm breathing this molecular hydrogen and I feel like I can leap tall buildings in a single bound is relevant to the clinic space, because the subconscious perception of the patient in relation to the spa or clinic or IV facility that they're going to is, this is the place, this is the IV, and this is the device that's making me feel like Steve Austin, the $6 million man.
Yeah, that's huge, because I feel the same way. I actually got an IV done in January. It was a Myers cocktail for immunity. I was like, I'm going to feel great. And the next day I got hit with the worst flu of my life. And I'm like, I'm never going to an IV clinic again. It's a scam. It didn't help me at all.
See, you're to your point, okay? A number of factors could have gone into that, but your subconscious perception was, that thing was supposed to make me feel amazing and bulletproof, and I got sick the next day. That's a bunch of crap, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you did it and had the molecular hydrogen and had supercharged your immune system while you were sitting there for the 20, 30, or 40 minutes,
45 minutes. Yeah.
so the statistical probability that whatever pathogen attacked you would have gotten such a great hold on you would have gone down exponentially, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I am
Right.
saying that. I'm saying that is the effect that you will get.
So let's break down the numbers. I mean, you said you owned an IV and stem cell clinic. There's some hard costs with these IV treatments and some of these other treatments that you, the clinic owner, have to take on. I mean, what are the hard costs with this device of operating it?
Yeah, I can mention a little bit about it. So as I mentioned the cost before, but this particular machine is what most clinics our med spas, clinics, IV clinics would utilize. It's 600 mLs per minute. You can have two people on the machine at the same time, 30 minutes per patient rather. If the one patient was on it, it would be just 15 minutes. And it can be used just for one patient where both nozzles are combined into one tube. And the $6,500 investment is basically something that basically has an ROI in less than a month, which is unheard of for most wellness products, right?
These devices, I mean, I talked with a clinic owner, great doctor, got way oversold by these device reps, invested $750,000 into, I think, all gimmicky technology. I'm not going to say which brand it is because they're probably going to come after me and send me cease and desist letters, but one of the most notable brands in the med spa space. And I mean, he's going to be paying that off for years before he sees a profit.
If I could add to what Mick said, so in addition to just your patient's tactile awareness of I feel better when I get up, while they're that captive audience for the 40 minutes, if you're then training your MA to discuss the benefits of the services that you have in your clinic to include molecular hydrogen, okay, and that patient who's likely bought a package, right? Almost nobody buys a single IV unless like they're going in for the hangover cure, right? But most patients are going in for a package. I'll just use some hypothetical numbers. Like let's say it's $130 for an IV. You buy 10 and they'll do it for $9.99, right? So the clinic's getting $1,000 off of that. Now on top of that, they're inhaling the molecular hydrogen. The MA is talking to them about the molecular hydrogen, etc. And at the end of it, the patient says, "How do I take one of these home with me, Mick?"
Yeah, and the clinic or the med spa makes an extra $1,000 by the patient actually taking a machine home with them or having one delivered to them.
The clinic has
so they can actually resell those through you guys to their patients if they want to have one in home.
Yeah, absolutely. And the ROI for a med spa, for example, that's not too busy but has a fair number of patients a day. Say they have 10 patients a day. If say 5 of them were to do the hydrogen inhalation, that equates to $80 a patient times 5 patients. So that works out to $400 a day, 5 days a week. That's $2,000 a week. 4 weeks in a month, that's $8,000 a month. Or in 52 weeks in a year, that's $104,000 in a year from a $6,500 machine.
Okay, so just to get that right, you said $80 a session is what they should be charging on average, $80 per session.
80 to 100, yeah.
80 to 100. And if they just add this on to only 50% of their patient base at, 5 per day, which would be about $400 a day, and you said they're operating 22 days out of the month, $8,800. So yeah, they would be profitable within 1 month, like actually profiting. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you have a unique selling point. How many patients, if they go somewhere and they got an IV and they got the result you got, when they're on the golf course with their buddy, what'd you think of that Myers cocktail, bro? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the word of mouth, right? But what if during their session, they also got molecular hydrogen and they got up off the table feeling 30% more energetic than when they got down on the table? You know what?
Right.
I got this IV, but they had this molecular hydrogen thing. And I got to tell you, I don't know if it was my imagination, but because I got some more sessions, but I got up, I just felt amazing. It made me feel like a better person. Now that's
because it works. Yeah. I mean, it's just, you guys are very familiar with semaglutide, these GLP-1s. highly effective treatments. And essentially what happened with those, and we saw it firsthand, the referral rate, we had clinics that were early adopters at a 2.1 times referral rate. So every patient they got on these GLP-1s, they were getting 2.1 patients back through referrals. You're saying that this hydrogen, because it's so effective, these clinics are seeing similar referral rates from all the case studies that they're getting.
Yes, it's a unique selling point that is tactilely noticeable. It's subjectively noticeable by the patient. The reason that you got such great referral rates with GLP medication is because the patient, for the first time in their life, did something that enabled them to lose weight easily and effectively and efficiently. They felt a difference, and they told everybody that they knew. Exactly, as an analogy, when you get up off of the IV table and you've inhaled the molecular hydrogen over that arc of time, and you feel amazing, and every time you go back for your IV treatment, you inhale the molecular hydrogen, you feel better and better and better and better and better. You're going to report a similar outcome in the same vein or family as the person who reported the outcome for the GLP. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, for a med spa and IV clinic or any type of clinic that's really tight on space, I mean, how much room does this thing take up?
It's right up between the IV tables. I mean, there's already...
So they can put this, they could put this in any room.
This is how big it is, right? And
yeah,
it's basically 1 foot by 8 inches. So how much space does that really take up? Almost none, right?
Right.
And so wherever you're getting IV, this one table between two people, both getting IV, is all the space you really need.
The space already exists. Yeah, the space exists. It's just empty. Why not turn that empty space into a profit center?
Right. I mean, they could have it in the waiting rooms even.
They could. You know, there's a picture right above Dr. Carter's head. I don't know if you see it, of the gentleman getting hydrogen therapy.
Yeah.
That's how simple it is, right?
Yeah.
You sit back, relax. You're getting an IV or any other passive therapy. You can have the hydrogen at the same time.
I'm sold on this. If a clinic owner is sold on this, like what kind of training, what do they do? How hard is it to get one of these implemented and incorporated into their business model?
Setup takes about 10 to 15 minutes because you got to put water in the machine. So that takes a few minutes. The training of the machine takes about 5 to 10 minutes. Basically, there are 4 buttons that you got to press. That's how simple it is. Any layperson, the front desk staff, or any layperson can use it. Doesn't require a degree or any kind of credentials.
No certifications.
Patients can use it or customers can use it at their home, and anybody in the clinic can basically set it up. The only thing that is they might need to buy a little timer to make sure that patients are getting the time that they want to get. But other than that, there's really nothing else to do. It's super easy. Maintenance is negligible. I mean, there's no maintenance, and it'll basically last for 8,000 hours, which is 3 hours a day for the next 8 years. So you have really nothing to worry about. If a business were to have a machine offer a lifetime warranty for the business, individuals get because it's in their home, it's a little bit different setting. We offer a 5-year warranty for individuals and a lifetime warranty for businesses. Wow. Meaning that they never have to worry about a single expense if the machine is ever not working for whatever reason.
Wow, that's great. So they could order this from, where do they go to order this? Website, DMU?
Hydroheal.com. We also have financing available through a firm, so they can get financing through a firm for it, and
they can get this for zero money down.
Whatever the firm options are, they can utilize those options. We do have a rental agreement where it's $1,500 down and $299 a month, and that's indefinite. It's a straight rental agreement. It's not a lease to purchase, but it's a straight rental agreement if they don't want to finance it. And they can just give us
so
that even
$1,500, $299 a month, and they could be making, we calculated off of 5 patients a day, $8,500 in revenue from that small investment.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer, and it really supercharges all the therapies that they're currently doing. It helps people. I mean, everybody that's been on it for 4 or 5 months, they're like, people are complimenting me that I look different, I look younger. What's going on? Is that because of you? I say, yeah, it's because of me. It's because of the machine. You know, it's regenerate. Your skin is the largest organ of your body. Okay.
Right.
Just like it's regenerating all the organs and tissue throughout your entire body, it's also regenerating your skin from the inside out. You know that all of our cells regenerate in a matter of 12 to 14 days, right? So your skin is a part of that.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then are there any benefits? I mean, a lot of people have eczema, psoriasis, skin issues. Does it have help with those?
Yeah,
amazing.
So our topical Look 25, we've been using it for a lot of skin conditions, psoriasis. It's meant to fight those conditions, not meant to cure them.
Right.
That's
Right.
the PC here. But it's amazing how beneficial it is for people with those conditions.
So then, I mean, we have clients that have IV clinics, mobile IV clinics, med spas with IVs. They already have their patients sitting around for 45 minutes doing some type of treatment, whether it's an IV, possibly even numbing for 30 minutes procedure. What's the best way they can bundle this into other packages?
It's super easy. Initially, we encourage all the businesses to have people demo it, because then there's no pushback that, because people don't know what it is. They may push back because they have to pay for it. So to eliminate any kind of resistance, we encourage them to at least have them try it first. And then after that, maybe charge for it as an add-on.
So trying it, how many times would you recommend them trying it? One session, or should they give them three back-to-back daily sessions? And they're hooked for life?
If they don't feel anything the next day, then you can encourage them to come back for a second session. If they feel something the next day, meaning they've had a noticeable, positive effect, then you start charging them. If they don't feel anything and they say, I didn't feel anything, well, come back next time and we'll get you on it again. And then, some people, after the second time, it changes their life. We had a celebrity, one of the biggest DJs in the world, actually. He tried it the first day and he didn't feel anything. The second day, he felt incredible. He slept incredibly. He was feeling amazing. And he's going to be one of our spokespeople in the next month. So you'll hear from him. And when he does come out with it, I'll be able to mention his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the biggest surprise clinic owners get after adding HydroHeal?
The biggest surprise is that they have so many people that just are coming out of the blue saying, your treatment was amazing. I've never had that kind of treatment before. They don't necessarily attribute it to the hydrogen. They attribute it to like the business doing something great with their existing treatments. They did something different. They don't know what it is because they don't necessarily remember the hydrogen, but people say, yeah, my patients have been telling me this, that, and the other. They're feeling amazing, da-da-da. And, I think it's because of the hydrogen. Say, yeah, that's the only thing that's changed, right? So, yeah, that's when the clinic owner starts realizing, yeah, it is the hydrogen that's actually making their treatments and their therapies, their IVs, supercharged and getting much faster, better results.
I think he's right, because your patients, you've been in clinic, your patients don't subjectively know what in the clinic is making them feel better. They just know your clinic is a clinic that made me feel better. And I've been to other clinics. I got a cocktail in another clinic. I got sick the next day. I went to this clinic over here. I started leaping tall buildings in a single bound. Go to that clinic.
Oh, so important. You're right. And that's why especially in the med spa space, the med spa owners that understand it, they're investing very heavily into the experience.
Yes.
You walk in, everything's clean, marble, gold and brass, very high end, luxurious feeling. You walk in, you're greeted with a beautiful person. Would you like a refreshment? Then they have nice, relaxing spa music. Oftentimes they'll even incorporate other like treatments just to add to that experience. So for a med spa owner that it cares about optimizing their user experience, their patient experience, this sounds like the best add-on they have.
Absolutely. And, to segue really nicely into our next guest, Dr. Yelena Petkovic. She's one of our physicians that works in the med spas, actually, works in plastic surgery centers. And I'm just going to step away real quick and bring her to the mic so that you can actually interview her.
Joe Rogan swears by hydrogen water, but experts say he's missing 90% of the benefits. Why is that?
Well, again, as we mentioned earlier, molecular hydrogen water at appropriate doses and saturation is wonderful. It's just orders of magnitude less efficient than absorbing molecular hydrogen through the alveoli of the lungs and achieving appropriate saturation of the body physiologically.
Forget cold plunges and red light therapy. Is this invisible gas actually the fountain of youth science has been searching for?
Again, I am not a believer in a one and done strategy. I am a proponent of a well-rounded and comprehensive treatment strategy as a component of overall biohacking. For instance, as you mentioned earlier, you're involved in hormone replacement therapy and peptide therapy. I do that, I do that. And I'm not saying don't do red light therapy and don't do cold plunge, but I'm saying if you had to choose between cold plunge, red light, and molecular hydrogen, there's no contest. Molecular hydrogen is orders of magnitude superior in stimulation of mitochondria and mitochondrial function, and by extension, physiologic function, than those other strategies.
We got Dr. Yelena here. We did an intermission and changed a doctor. She's a functional medicine doctor. Why don't you just give us a little background about some of the patients that you treat and, some of your work experience?
Okay, so for the past 18 years, I'm basically working with patients who want to age better, reverse signs of aging, and basically have youthful vitality, and get off pharmaceutical drugs and live a more vibrant life. And so the scope of patients that I have, men and women, I've worked in age management clinics, which, worked with testosterone therapy, bioidentical hormones, peptides, nutraceuticals, IV therapies. This has been kind of the realm that I've been working in. I do have a lot of, perimenopausal women, coming through. People who want to get pregnant, also a lot of women who are trying to get pregnant in their 30s. Just people who are proactively trying to prepare themselves to live the longest, healthiest life that they can. And recently, within, I think, the last maybe 7 years, I've been trying to look for modalities that are pharmaceutical free even. And so using things like, hypoxic therapy and hydrogen, which we're talking about, I think, today.
Yeah.
It's been something that has really interested me because I see that a lot of things are not one size for everyone, not for everyone. People have interactions, or maybe they just don't process certain supplements well, or, even hormones are not for them because of their past history. And so these types of treatments are really exciting because they're basically making it easy for the body to detoxify and do what it was designed to do by God. It's like we add up innate repair and things to support our bodies, right, to live well. And recently in this environment that we've been living in, it's been challenging, but I'm grateful that there are things coming into the light, that we can use. So.
Yeah, so this sounds like the ultimate holistic approach to health, wellness, anti-aging for people like yourself and myself. I'm all about getting off pharmaceuticals. I think, I forget the documentary probably like a decade ago. I think it was called like Pharmaceutical Thugs, and it just broke down all the problems that these pharmaceutical drugs are causing, and they're not making us healthier. They're making us sicker. And it's crazy. So there's a lot of people like myself, like yourself, that are looking for pharmaceutical free lifestyles. Would you say that this is possibly the best starting point to health and improving possible symptoms that people might be experiencing?
Getting off pharmaceuticals, or are we talking about the hydrogen now?
No, the hydrogen therapy, as like somebody who is off pharmaceuticals that's looking to take a step in a healthier direction.
It's definitely, other than, exercise and getting sunlight and drinking, appropriate amounts of water, I think that it's definitely something that is the next step. If you're suffering from just fatigue or overall inflammation, and it's a modality everybody could use. Why not find all the free oxygen in your body that is causing oxidation and inflammation and stress, and just create water from it? I think that's brilliant. And, I'm surprised it took as long as it did to get to the US. I'm disappointed in myself that I didn't know about it. But, once I started trying it and putting my patients on it and talking about it, and then I was at a big conference and I sat in a 2.5-hour lecture looking at the science, and I was so, that was really for me what I needed to see in order to believe. Like I understood it and I saw the difference that people were telling me. They were sleeping better. They felt, smarter, more creative even. I think that's one of the greatest things is like their brain seemed to start working in a different way.
Right.
And then, but when I sat down and I saw all the ways that it was helpful, I mean, I just was a believer and started, telling Mick, from HydroHeal, I was like, I will help you share this because there's very few things that I have put my name behind that I've worked and spoke about because I don't believe not everything is for everyone, but this really kind of feels like it is. So, I want to see it everywhere. I mean, I told him, put it in airports. Let's open up little kiosks. Like everyone needs to inhale hydrogen. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what was the science that you saw that kind of, got you thinking about this and really considering this? There's a lot of doctors out there that own clinics, med spas, IV clinics, functional health clinics. They're very science driven. What was that science that you saw that got you looking into hydrogen therapy?
I mean, it was just the wide scope of science that I saw. I think that I was the most impressed by from everything from, post healing from stroke to, Alzheimer's and dementia to depression and anxiety to wound healing to fertility, I shouldn't say fertility, but reproductive health, And there was actually an MD whose wife was he was speaking about the miraculous change in his wife and endometriosis, the things that she experienced. And that was to me like very impactful because I work with a lot of women with reproductive issues and or health issues. So I think it was just the personal testimonies plus all the science and the scope of science that I was just like, wow, this really should, who wouldn't benefit from this? What clinic wouldn't? And the fact that you can't overdose, I was really impressed that I could go out and I can speak about this to everybody and really feel like I was doing a good service to humanity, talking.
Yeah, definitely. I was at a mastermind actually Mick in Miami a few weeks ago, and it was the first mastermind I've been at. Everybody got IVs. They gave everybody IV treatments just for health benefits. So maybe this is going to be the next device that's at all these high-end events. Instead of doing IV treatments, they're going to be like, get yourself on the hydrogen therapy while the speakers are going for 10, 20 minutes at a time.
I definitely think it's more appropriate for everyone to get hydrogen than an IV.
Yeah.
On vitamin C, we shouldn't just treat everybody without medical supervision, right? But I would say, this could be something that could go beyond medical clinics. But I think first and foremost, as, people who are have medical licenses and take care of other people, we should be advising people, if you're going to try something and you're going through something, why not try something that is as innocent as hydrogen therapy first? We should do no harm. And I just feel for so long, I've had so many conflicts in my own professional career where I've had to really think about the things I was doing and was I really doing no harm or not? And this is really something that could really make a difference and could be used, like you said, at events and parties and, recovery from jet lag or, after big conferences where everyone's exhausted, why wouldn't we do this? And the best thing also is IVs are now, half of the IV bags and even the tubing, now we're finding microplastics, right? So it's like, it might even be better to not make IVs as popular as we have without knowing where the bags are coming from and the tubing is coming from and there's lots of questions.
Yeah, microplastics. I know when I found that out, about all my favorite clothes were just microplastics that I was wearing. Had to stop buying a lot of the brands that I loved, like Lululemon and some of these brands. You're just wearing plastic all over your body all day.
Gonna dress like Don Johnson now, all cotton.
Yeah, literally. So what type of clinic do you work at now? You said you've worked in a couple different clinics. Like for the listeners, what's your specialty? What type of patients are you seeing most common?
So at this point, I cover 5 different clinics. I do all their functional medicine testing, hormone replacement, peptides. So I read all the labs and I create programs and protocols for their patients. And so I don't work in one clinic. I cover a bunch of different clinics. And then I have people who are referred to me from my patients and basically I take them to a couple different types of clinics depending on what their needs are.
Right.
Eric, one that's with one clinic that is more wellness focused, that basically they have like, everything from EBO2s to methyl and blue IVs to, red light to theta chambers. And, so I'll bring patients there when they need those modalities while I'm taking care of their hormones and putting them on peptides and all these other things. I would do work in a big chain hormone replacement. So they have like the IVs and they do Botox and filler and all these other, procedures as well. And then I do cover a big plastic surgeon here in Miami. I do the wellness for all of his patients. And so he gives me his patients that need to, be healthier, lose weight, they need hormone replacement.
Right.
So I don't take patients out of their clinics. I just take care of their patients in their clinic. And then there are some patients that are just my patients for years and years and years, and they'll follow me everywhere, and referrals. And those patients I will take, to several different clinics depending on what they need. So yeah, it's wellness, age management, med spa type places. And then I have a plastic surgeon. Yeah. And another kind of wellness hormone replacement clinic. Yeah.
So I don't know if Mick told you, I own patient acquisition. We mostly specialize in like med spas, any high end, cosmetic surgeries. Telehealth, functional health is really big now for a lot of our clients. So pretty familiar with the space. You mentioned plastic surgeons. How could a plastic surgeon incorporate hydrotherapy or this device into their practice?
Well, it's excellent in my opinion. I mean, when I do get to talk to some of these patients, which I don't get to talk to all of them, but I do educate the staff and I'm very close with the plastic surgeon and his wife. They're my friends for years. And they've personally been using it on themselves, the HydroHeal, and loving it. But what we're trying to do, or I'm trying to get them to try to inspire patients to do, is to use the device both before and after surgery. So it's just creating the right environment for healing, basically. So the less inflammation, the less oxidative activity going on in the body before you have surgery, the less challenges your body's going to have to overcome when it's recovering from another controlled injury, right? And then afterwards, obviously, to create again the right environment and help the body focus on the healing that it has to do, and not having all these like outside factors. And I don't know the research on this yet, and I haven't asked.
I'll be happy to interject.
But even like anesthesia, wouldn't that help?
Yeah.
Also, detox.
As a matter of fact, the doctor that you were at with in Coral Gables.
Okay. Yes.
That doctor.
Yeah.
And he uses it for post-surgery.
Yeah. I've been telling everyone. So I've been doing this for a while. So I have a lot of friends, a lot of doctor friends, a lot of people who have clinics. And so I introduced Mick to one of them, and he's actually applying it the way that I wish that
he bought several machines and he's using for post-surgery wound healing. So basically his patients are recovering like 2 to 3 times faster. And that when, you're dealing with surgery, you're dealing with wound closure, which hydrogen has been shown to provide much faster wound closure. I'm actually using it for diabetic foot wounds also on a national level.
Wow.
But for procedures post-surgery, it accelerates wound healing. It accelerates blood flow. It accelerates blood vessel formation. And these are all from clinical studies. You can just go to Google and type in hydrogen and wound recovery, and you'll see the clinical studies right there. But we're getting tremendous results on that. And, that if you heal a wound much faster, you also decrease infection risk. And infection risk has a whole multitude of other issues that happens if you have an infection. So, being able to recover a lot faster from surgery is a game changer in the surgery space. I mean, I'm talking to a few orthopedic surgeons also for that specific function also.
With like a cosmetic surgeon, they could benefit drastically from implementing this in like the post-op procedure.
Correct. In lieu of hyperbaric oxygen, which a lot of people, that was the only...
Yeah, we do send people there. Like I said,
much more powerful than hyperbaric oxygen.
When I'm there, because, practices are super busy and you have to have someone who believes in it and is there supporting but they will send me patients to talk to them. And I've had a couple of the patients have had post-bleph, they've had a scar that they've been working on, and even putting them on the goggles with the hydrogen for 15 minutes you literally can see the difference in the scar inflammation and the redness. I mean, it's pretty amazing that you could visually see the difference, right?
Yeah.
And I've also had a couple people who have come in and they've done like laser peels or something at another clinic, and you put them on it like the next day, and like the inflammation in 15 minutes goes down by half. I mean, you could visually see it. So there's definitely, every time we've applied it and we've seen the results. Some people don't feel it as much, but they sleep better, that day. And I definitely see also, people fillers, just, the swelling post fillers, seeing it right after fillers. I mean, if you have 15 minutes and are willing to invest, an extra $80, they're going to see better. They're going to look better right after. They're going to feel better.
Yeah.
And, we've already seen by the results, the neovascularization or just the inflammation and things that are already improving, right? And the patients don't care as much about that as I feel better and I look better. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, you've worked in med spas. What's the number one question these patients are asking for a lot of these like laser devices, RF microneedling is, how long am I going to be out, right? Like how long, what's the downtime? They want to know how long that their face is going to be all red and inflamed because they want to go out and live life. So for a med spa, I mean, this seems like no brainer for them to add on strictly for decreasing the post-op downtime.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's for me, I mean, in my mind, the way that I see everything and what makes sense, it seems like the best investment, holistic benefits. It's what you see and what you don't see. I mean, it's your whole body is getting blessed. You know what I'm saying? By 15 minutes of boiling hydrogen. And I think for, the owners, this will set them apart. If they do this right now, I mean, we're literally on the brink of like the future of medicine right now where we're understanding what we can do for the body, right? And how investing in the body over time is really the best anti-aging, right? So if you get ahead of the inflammation and you're taking care of some of these things and helping the digestive system, ideal environments for digestion, ideal environments for healing, you're going to be preventing. I mean, we haven't even began to understand, right, what we're doing. Maybe we're even preventing. I mean, we don't even understand cancer till today, right? Is it this parasite, toxin, virus mix, But I think that when you're treating, not attacking specific conditions, but you're really looking at what can we do so that the body can optimally function at every time, like optimize detoxification, optimize, immunity, optimize healing, then you're letting the body take care of things as they come up. And that's the way I see it. So I think like this should be something, it's almost like a crime if we don't start doing stuff like this in the clinic.
Yeah. It's your guys' responsibility and right to get this out to the rest of the world.
It really is. Yeah.
Dr. Yelena is super passionate about this. And, it's amazing how this one thing, hydrogen, which is a molecule that's available in space and is part of our water, can make such a big difference. But the true beauty of what we're able to do with HydroHeal is be able to provide such a high concentration of it at a level that's bioavailable, medical grade, and be able to facilitate that, not only breathing, but also with water. We make hydrogen water. We also have the goggles that Yelena just mentioned, and we also have the head.
So what are the goggles? We didn't talk about that yet. Can you dive into what the goggles do, Dr. Yelena?
Yeah, but basically, just to let everyone know, I mean, you have certain tubing that you can use to inhale, and then you can put headphones on, which is basically infusing, the best way possible into the brain, right? The hydrogen. And then there's the goggles, which is for eye health. And I think a lot of people should be concerned about their eyes, right? That are not right now. But if you do have a condition, this is the best way to basically get it into the area that most needs it, right? And so he can tell you a little bit more. Yeah,
absolutely. The thing is hydrogen supercharges the mitochondria. Where's the highest concentration of mitochondria in our bodies, right? It's in our brain, it's in our eyes, it's in our heart, and our liver, okay? And so when you're able to supercharge the mitochondria by tenfold, that's 1,000%. That's tenfold. When you're able to supercharge the mitochondria by tenfold, you're able to regenerate those organs, the tissue of those organs. And that's what's the real power of the hydrogen. It's able to regenerate new cells and be able to recycle, say, UV damaged or, damaged cells in your tissue. And with the goggles, it pushes the hydrogen gas into a sealed compartment around the eyes So it's pushing the hydrogen against your ocular tissue. So it's able to help reverse situations of macular degeneration, cataracts. There are clinical studies that you can just Google about this and see what I'm talking about, and vision loss. So that's how it helps with the eyes. With the brain, you're dealing with closed head injuries, stroke patients, you're dealing with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, you're dealing with dementia. Those are specific to the brain because it helps decrease the oxidative damage on the substantia nigra, and it also helps create new neuronal cells, otherwise known as brain cells. So that's the function of the hydrogen within your brain. And we're actually getting amazing results for people with migraine headaches, because what is really is a migraine? You take anti-inflammatory for a migraine because what migraines are triggered by is the constriction of the blood vessels by the tissue in the brain. So if you're able to relieve that inflammation and that constriction on the blood vessels, you're able to relieve the duration, severity, and frequency of these migraines. So within an hour to 2 hours of actually doing the headphones for a patient with migraine headaches, their migraine headache actually goes away. So, it's very powerful anti-inflammatory. And what is the biggest cause of a lot of the disease states in our body? It's because of oxidative damage and inflammation.
So, Dr. Yelena, most clinics, most patients you're probably seeing have never heard of hydrogen therapy. What's working best right now for clinics to really introduce this therapy to some of their patients? How can they do that best?
2 ways that I've seen that it works is if they're getting an IV, ask them if they want an add-on, and explain to them what this could do for them. And they're sitting there anyway, and, they're taking time out of their day. They've driven in traffic and, they're there for a reason, right? Something's going on in their life that they're receiving an IV. So the fact that you can just add on again we charge $100 extra, but it depends on the clinic or how much you're able to charge $50 to $100 add on to something. I think patients would be very open to it, or at least they have been, when they were ready to get an IV. And the other way is when patients are waiting in the waiting room and there's, some delays going on. And, you can just be like, hey, while you're waiting, would you like to get a service that's going to help you decrease inflammation, create a water where there's oxidative stress? It'll help with your digestion, help with your energy, help you sleep. It'll, people even say they look better, their face is less inflamed. Yeah. So, would you like to do this while you're waiting? And that's, I think, the beginning, right? Trying to get, if you already have an IV practice, if you're already having, kind of busy practice and have patients already there and they want to utilize their time, we want to be efficient. And I think that offering something like that is a service. And then also, in addition, if they're doing any procedure at all and, explaining to them, hey, this could help you heal faster. And I like what Mick said is that if it is a surgical procedure, the faster your wounds heal, whatever is going on, the less likely you'll have any secondary issues, infections and such. So if it was me, I would say yes, but I know not everybody's there, understanding of all of these things. But if you have a person or a couple of people on the staff that maybe have tried it and have been using it, that are passionate about it, this is the best chance you're going to get to transmit that message to patients and really invite them into empowering themselves with the power of hydrogen, right? You can get the hydrogen bottles now, online and Amazon or whatever, but
the tablets also.
The tablets, people are writing me, oh, can I take the tablets? I'm like, yeah, you can take 500 of those tablets.
Or you could come in for 15 minutes.
Right, exactly. Or you can come in for 15 minutes. And even more importantly, my vision, I told Mick, is I think every house should have a hydrogen device. It's even sounds ridiculous to me to even drive in and go do 2 or 3 hydrogen. Yeah. It's just get a machine and treat your whole family. Just have it around, and your mom, your dad, your, whatever. You're now all of a sudden you're an empowered healer, right? That you get to treat somebody with something that really has no side effects, right? And make a big difference. So I think that clinics could also be talking to patients about this. I think it's all about empowering yourself with things that are, safe and that you can do for yourself and people you care about. I think that's huge and we should be there. We're all have the internet. Our consciousness is elevated. We're smarter than we've ever been in certain ways, maybe not in all. But, people want that. They don't want to have to make an appointment and run to the doctor to do something that's good for them.
In those cases, they're not familiar with it, though. In the med spa setting, there are so many procedures that cause so much inflammation. And how do you feel that it so far in what you've seen and the ability to be more pervasive among more of the facial procedures, rejuvenation procedures, how do you feel that the hydrogen can help in those situations?
Yeah, I think we talked about it, but I definitely think like people don't want downtime. So it's like if you want less downtime, you want to look better quicker. I mean, and not only that, I think that there's like a good inflammation. We all talk about this. Like sometimes it's good to have a little inflammation or, you want those, there are certain processes in the bodies that require it in order to have some healing. But then there's another part of it, pain-induced inflammation, stress-induced anxiety. And a lot of patients are just like really scared and worried, like right after they've had something done. And I think to give them something to, hey, you can come in and do this treatment that doesn't have any side effects to help you with the inflammation instead of giving you a Tylenol or Advil or something else that could have other issues, cause other issues. So I think in that regard, it's just letting people know, hey, if you need something and you need to heal faster, we have it for you. And if you're worried, come in and do a hydrogen procedure. It might just help you get to the place that you feel more comfortable quicker. I think that's powerful.
Yeah. And, I have a couple of my pain management doctors, actually, they've used the hydrogen for 4 or 5 sessions on patients. And patients are reporting reversal, or basically that their neck and back pain is going away. Phenomenal. And they're actually petitioning their workers' comp carriers to negotiate with us for a better price to be able to take the machine home and stuff. So it has a lot more, there'll be a lot more things that'll come down the pipe. But, neuropathic pain is one of those things. You can Google hydrogen neuropathic pain and you'll see the studies on that too. But
I mean, there is, listen, you can go, it depends on how deep you could go, but there's definitely, yes, is there a placebo? There's always placebo with something great but we see when you can see it in the science of what happens and when you apply hydrogen to certain, disease processes and inflammatory processes, you can see it. So we have seen it. But I also think like everything that we go through has also like a psychological kind of component. And even the fact that it helps with anxiety and depression, right? And inflammation in the brain. And so how much of the fear that we're, perceiving is causing inflammation. And just by having something that you could just apply, right, when you need it, I mean, that's so powerful, that you're able to help calm yourself down in many ways. Like, here's something safe. Here's something I can do for myself. Here's something that makes me feel better. I know when I got food poisoning, I told you, right? Like, I put the hydrogen on right away and it did help, but I think it was like, I knew it wasn't going to be as bad. I was like, okay, I have this device, I'm going to inhale it. And I did feel better.
You're in a safe zone.
Yeah, exactly. It did feel better. I was like, oh, wow. Like, and I recovered very fast. Now, what of the 3 or 4 things I did that helped it, or how long would it have been anyway? But I just think it's a really empowering, helpful, safe tool that it makes sense, that people would have it.
Yeah. So what's like the 30-second pitch to anybody who's not somebody who's not heard of hydrogen therapy? How would you pitch it to somebody in 30 seconds or less so that they can see the benefits?
I always tell people this is like antioxidant. Okay. Hydrogen is the smallest molecule in the universe. We're made up mostly of water, more hydrogen than anything then, right? H2O, right? If we're mostly water. And so this is basically inhaling it is going to find all the oxidative stress, all the series that are in your body that are causing issues. And it's going to create water in those areas. So you're not only our huge problem is that we're not hydrated. That's one of the biggest things. And now we're creating water down in the cellular level, right? Which is just going to help your body communicate, feel less. Yeah, it's just going to optimize all cellular function, right? Because that's what we are. And when we are what we are to the greatest capacity, we're going to do our best, right? And you have an antioxidant, that we're always trying to eat like, more berries or take supplements. But here we have something that really is so safe that we can heal, that we can create water, that we can decrease inflammation, that we can prevent aging, inflammation, aging, oxidation. We can prevent it now with this tool. So this is how I present it to patients, and patients are conceptually all for it. and then they try it and then they feel better. And then it's all about, well, how much better could I feel if I do this more often? And that's a conversation.
Yeah, and what doctor just said, the intracellular water that is created by the hydrogen is actually the worst of the free radicals, which are the hydroxyl radicals, with molecular structure of OH. When H2 combines with OH, it turns that molecule into water, H2O. So OH and H2 turn into H2O, and that's intracellular water. And that's what also improves hydration, because you have water now inside your tissue that's a byproduct of neutralizing the worst of the free radicals, causing the oxidative damage and inflammation in your body. And then the second worst of the free radicals that Dr. Carter mentioned earlier is the peroxynitrites. Those are the second worst of the free radicals. Those are turned into nitric oxide. And so nitric oxide is also good for you.
Yeah, that's great too.
So it's amazing that it turns the worst, not into debris, but actually stuff that's actually good for the rest of your body's metabolic function.
Yeah, so all we need to do now is just have, hydrogen rooms, right? That's like
hydrogen parties.
Hydrogen.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Salt rooms are really popular right now. Pretty soon we're going to, like you said, we're going to have hydrogen rooms where you just step inside. It's pumped with nothing but hydrogen. You don't even need to put the tubes in your nostrils.
Yeah. We're actually coming out with hydrogen baths right now too. The Look 25 that doctor also knows about is being used for cosmetic function treatment, post-treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's able to significantly improve reduce the inflammation, redness, after this microneedling and some of these other procedures that, there's really no other option.
Those are amazing. I don't know if you've seen that product, but it's pretty amazing. And it got an upgrade, right?
Yeah. We just bought a patent to be able to make the hydrogen so much more concentrated, in the order of 1,800% more. And it lasts not for 1 hour, but for years.
Talk about the Look 25. What exactly is it being used for? How's it applied?
Yeah, so it's amazing. We developed it as a result of 2 clinical studies that came out showing how hydrogen is able to reverse wrinkles in 6 to 8 weeks. It's able to normalize oily skin. It's able to hydrate or moisturize dry skin, and also fade away age spots. That's one study. The second study talked about how it is amazing for acne and redness, so rosacea, things of that nature. So we've developed a product with that in mind to replicate the process by which you get those same results, and that's called Look 25. Is look25.com is the website, and we have an IG that is the same name, Look 25. But basically, by essentially putting in distilled water into this device, the device is generating hydrogen and oxygen in real time and infusing it into the water, and atomizes and settles as a mist on your face. And then that mist is able to penetrate deep into the dermal layers of skin and supercharge your fibroblasts within your skin to produce both collagen and elastin. Not from animals like you have from those drinks of collagen and whatnot, but your own collagen, your own elastin. And that is what really makes the difference for wrinkles. And at the same time, it resurfaces the epithelial skin layer so that the texture and the pigmentation of your skin normalizes and becomes healthy. And so it basically eliminates fine lines and wrinkles, especially with our new water, in the matter of 2 to 3 weeks.
Wow. So this is like the holistic Botox.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to get in trouble with Botox, but yeah.
So this is the holistic neurotoxin.
Alternative. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I don't want to piss off any of those big companies. They make billions.
Yeah.
They'll tie you up in court.
But I think this is what we want, right? I mean, we wouldn't be using any of these other things if we had something that that can only benefit and is healthy. And not only that, I love the fact that I just started using Look 25, so that's why I don't look 25 yet. Okay.
You're getting closer.
But I want to. I'm like, can you use me as like a protege of all of your things? But I love the fact that you just have to have access to distilled water, and you basically can continue to use this device. Like, it's not like other things where you have to like get a subscription every month and like keep buying all these products
Creams
and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that's hope, that's kind of where we want to go. I don't think anybody really wants to be injecting anything into, like, if there was another way.
Yeah, there's so much talk on social media now about the fillers. Like, as you get older, those fillers like start showing up. When your facial collagen starts receding, then those fillers start like showing his bumps and all kinds of things.
It's usually by the plastic surgeons, though. They're like, don't put filler in your face because when we do surgery, this is what'll happen, But yeah, I mean, it's not ideal. Like nothing injected that is not made of your body into your body is ideal, right? But I think that, exosomes, we're kind of moving in this regenerative. And now, I mean, I believe one day we're going to just be able to like just visualize. Like our minds are going to be so powerful, right? That our bodies will be preserved and like optimized by just the power of our. That's my personal thought.
Yeah.
Like, but until then,
We're going to be all AI.
hydrogen helps. These things are really helpful. I think we all want them. So I think there's so much more, that is to come. But I definitely think this is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I need to get one of those Look 25s, Mick, because everybody's like, I work in the med spa space. They're like, Daniel, whenever you're ready for Botox, but I just can't get behind getting Botox injected into my face. Nothing against it for people that do, but maybe as a guy and, someone who's been all natural, holistic for, a very long time now, the Look 25 might be what I need.
100%. I got you.
How much does Look 25 cost?
It's only $299 and it has a 1-year warranty. It's rechargeable and refillable. So it lasts forever. So
wow.
Super easy, and it replaces most of your skincare routine. People who have oily skin, for example, it modulates the production of sebum so that your face gets less oily. And, people are out west who are dealing, from Colorado all the way west to California, your face is falling off every day without moisturizer. So, it basically moisturizes your skin. It tightens those pores. It regenerates all the epithelial skin layer with new healthy cells. It's pretty dramatic.
So 5 years from now, do you guys think hydrogen therapy is going to be as accepted and common practice as, massages and all these wellness clinics are?
100%. Yeah, we're going to be really promoting in multiple verticals, the med spa, the wellness, the longevity space, the health space. When I say health, I'm talking about medical space. We have a very strategic plan to be able to get to people with terminal diseases and autoimmune conditions that have run out of options. We're also working with the military on optimizing our troops. So we're working with the military on that. So that's pretty exciting also. And then also in, pain and pain management is such a huge area that really doesn't have many options that are healthy, that, what do you call it? Opioids have really destroyed our country in many ways, and to be able to offer a alternative that is healthy and can have long-term effects on everybody's body is amazing. See, what hydrogen does, it gets to the root cause of all of these metabolic disease conditions, which is cellular dysfunction. All the medications that you take are basically
You're part of the problem.
Yeah, well, think of a runaway train, which is our body, right? Going down this aging path and this degenerative path. This runaway train, has all these, is making a lot of noise and everything like that. There's nothing bringing it back to the station. This runaway train, when you take these drugs or these medications, it's just getting rid of the noise that the train makes, but it's still going down that path. Hydrogen is able to slow that train down, stop it, and have it come back to the station. So that's a little simple analogy that a lot of people can relate to about how hydrogen is different from a lot of traditional medicine.
Yeah. And I mean, the functional health space is blowing up right now. Everybody wants to get their genetic testing, their blueprinting done. And it starts with labs, possible peptide treatments, hormone optimization. They could start with hydrogen therapy without having to even get any labs or anything and see benefits like almost immediately.
I mean, it may be better. I mean, this is just, I was one of those like neurotic, like test everything, know everything, treat everything. And then you just become fearful of everything. And all day long, you're just like biohacking and you become like this neurotic person. It's not fun. It's not. So you move through it and you're just like, well, what if I just treat like there's a lot of things that are off, like nourish my body well, work on sleep. If I'm not sleeping, let's focus there. Move my body if I'm not moving, and then half of your issues go away. I'm sure if you 3 months later, your labs are going to look totally different, or even a month later, even a week later. So it's even interesting to be, before we're spending thousands and thousands of dollars on all these things, it's just like, why don't you just like take a break and like focus on just supporting your body right? Supporting it
Yeah.
and just loving it. And let's just pretend I have all the issues. I have all the
Yeah.
whatever. And then test, after. And then and maybe you don't even need to do as many tests, right? And then
Yeah.
not have to take as many thousands of supplements. Or maybe your
Right.
hormones are, you thought you were perimenopausal and you're not. It's just like you were super inflamed and your body couldn't detox out some stuff. So, I mean, in my mind, it would be the most sensical thing to be not approaching things the way that we are right now. Unfortunately, people want, to see everything and like study everything and take everything right now. But I think that gets old fast, and
Right.
after a while you're questioning yourself and everything, right? And how much
Yeah.
better are you getting, really, if there's just, you need so many things to feel great, So I think if
Right.
we had like these, these stations of places where you could get, so maybe something's off, you don't feel well, okay, you're doing hydrogen, you do some red light, you do some infrared, you get, exercise, you focus on maybe muscle, I don't know, like somebody's got to put together these places, right? Where we just go and like take a break and like do this first. And then you're going to see a lot of the symptoms are going to go away and you're going to feel better.
Right.
You may not even think you have anything anymore. Right.
Right.
And I don't know, maybe you don't have to go through this like long, complicated health journey. Right.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's just like a vision of what I think like it would be great. And will we get there when? I don't know. But I do believe, if you believe that we can heal with very simple things, I think that that is a great first step. Like your body is perfect. It's designed perfectly. There's stuff happening. We've got to get rid of some of the stuff in the way of your body operating. And if you believe that it can be simple and you tell that to patients, like it's not going to be that difficult. You don't have to, start going all over the place. Just that thought alone, I think people are going to be more open to, doing the simple stuff first.
Yeah. It all starts with faith. And like you said, placebo, right? That's what science calls essentially faith is placebo. There is an effect that it has. And when you believe things and start believing things, can be very powerful in your health and healing journey. I just got all my blood tests done. I was all excited. I interviewed this like functional health clinic and they were just talking about Somorelin and some of these emerging peptides and how they just sleep so much better. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get my labs done and hopefully, my doctor is going to prescribe me Somorelin and whatever else. I get my labs done. He's like, you're perfect. I actually can't, there's nothing I need to prescribe you. Like my hormones were optimized. The only thing was, he's like, spend more time, try and get more vitamin D. I spend like 12, 16 hours a day sometimes on a computer. So that I was a little disappointed, but at least I don't have to get on all these expensive therapies to optimize things. Cause I'm all about holistic. I drink the cleanest water, only organic, got off all pharmaceuticals. I try to never go to a doctor for really anything. A functional health doctor, I would do something like that, let the labs and customize something to me. But I think a lot of people are like that. They're starting to wake up with, what happened with, with COVID and everything. People are really starting to question these traditional practices and turning more toward holistic therapies. So, this could really be the starting point for so many people to just really optimize their body, mind, and spirit.
Yeah. And with that, a lot of people are talking about detoxing, right? So hydrogen, and you can type in hydrogen fatty liver and on Google, and you can see exactly what I'm about to say. But it actually regenerates your liver. It's able to cleanse your liver, and your liver is the cleaner of your body, correct? It cleanses all the toxins. It's what, if your liver is not working properly, all the toxins that are getting built up in your body and your tissue. So you optimize your liver, you're able to speed up that removal of toxins from your body. And so a lot of people are suffering from fatty liver due to insulin resistance, due to toxins, alcohol consumption, things of that nature, pharmaceuticals, overuse of pharmaceuticals, especially opioids and things of that nature. And the hydrogen is able to actually cleanse the liver and regenerate the liver.
Yeah.
That's super powerful for detoxing.
Yeah. Out of all the options, which one are you going to do? Right. Obviously changing your lifestyle is good, and avoiding, like, you're cleaning yourself out while you're swimming in the swamp. It's like, stop doing the stuff that's making it difficult for you to be healthy, but in the meantime, doing things like, I think that the reason why we even need hydrogen is because of the fact, like, the earth is so dirty and the air is dirty and the water is dirty. And, it's just like, that's why we need these things. Obviously, like, we didn't probably need this a few hundred years. I don't even know. I can't even like 1,000 years ago, whatever. But I think that it's just been really difficult, for the body to handle. And then we make it harder by taking, over-the-counter drugs even, or,
processed foods, over-the-counter drugs.
And then drinking alcohol. And, it's like
Yeah.
to the excessive amount. I mean, we never had this much money in previous generations to just go out and have 5 drinks and or whatever, bottle of wine, so everyone's just drinking and everything's dirty. And so now our body needs extra, right? We need help. We could stop doing all those things. Our body will need less help. You give the body something, like hydrogen, it kind of creates less work for the body, right? So that if there is a problem or a parasite or, something's off, it can use its energy to take care of that and not all the inflammation and all the other stuff. So we're more efficient. I think that's what it does, is it helps our bodies become more efficient and
Optimized,
to deal with what is thrown at us, right? And then, if you manage your mind, then you have an extra layer. It's like, I think this is the types of conversations we should be having with people.
Yeah.
But it's a good, it's a great tool.
They are. I think the conversations are starting to happen.
And I think with those conversations, med spas have a certain responsibility also and physicians in longevity have responsibility for education, right? And when they educate the hundreds or thousands in some case of people that are part of their practice, they're able to educate them on things that will actually make a difference in their lives, not just things that will generate revenue, but also make a difference in their lives in the long run.
There's always going to be something that we can, I mean, yeah, peptides are huge money makers, right? Supplements are huge, but it's like they're great tools. Sometimes people need them. I mean, it's just hormones. I mean, you need all these things. Do we want, but I think that we should always trust that there's going to be something else on the horizon that we could still create, have more time and space to create wealth, and even if, clinics were like, okay, we're going to just add this on all of our services, but then just tell patients to take the machine home. I mean, and then once everybody in the world has a hydrogen machine, believe me, there's going to be something else that we need. Like, we don't have to worry about creating jobs for ourselves as people who are, here to support people's greatness, in terms of like their body or their mind or their health. There's always going to be something. There's always another need. We can expand to greater things. We can utilize our time for something, even more, like I would say, like high vibrational, right? We don't have to be down here in the dirt with everyone. We're going to be like, okay, let's go up here. Okay, let's go here. So I don't think that, I think that we should do the right thing, and just be responsible and talk about the right things. And it's going to come back to us. So
Law of reciprocity. Yeah, it all comes back to you. They call it karma. Science calls it cause and effect, Newton's third law. But everything does come back to you. And I think that, putting those out there, having these conversations is definitely opening things up. I've just seen the blow up of this over the last few years, especially I think with the telehealth space. That was really the first step with COVID happening. People started accepting telehealth. Then, the weight loss, Mick, obviously blew up. I've witnessed that, been a direct impact to that happening as well. And that then turned into peptides, all this bio testing and testing your biology, your genetics, and really seeing what is best for you. Now we have hydrogen therapy as the next big thing that is happening. I mean, Joe Rogan swears by hydrogen water, but experts are saying he misses 90% of the benefits. Why is that?
We just talked about
I think that essentially he's not getting the high concentration that's available. I was just talking to Gary Brecka last week, and he was saying, I love hydrogen. I have a hydrogen inhalation machine at home. But yeah, it's one of those things where you need to have the right concentration. It's all about dose, right? You take a peptide and you take 0.1 ml, it's not going to do anything. You take 10, or 1 ml, and it's going to be the right dose. So it's the same thing with hydrogen. If you want a certain benefit, you need to get the right dose. And in spite of the fact that there's so many different metabolic disease conditions that have positive clinical studies with very little amount of hydrogen. When you're able to have a much higher concentration, this is one case whereby you get a dramatically better result.
So, doctor, I mean, you've worked in wellness clinics, functional health, med spas, cosmetic surgeries. You've done a lot and worked in pretty much every anti-aging modality. Why is hydrogen therapy the next big thing?
Basically, I feel that it holistically benefits the body and it is for everyone, and it's safe. I believe that those three things that, if yes, you can target beauty, right? You can say, I just want to look better, I want my skin to be less inflamed, and I just I want less wrinkles or whatever. But if you're inhaling hydrogen, you're not only going to get the beauty benefits, you're also going to get digestive improvement. You're also going to get better brain clarity. Like there's so many benefits to it. So it's a segue. Even if you're treating one thing, everyone will realize there's so many other benefits, and then they're going to want to know how they can get more of that, from one condition to another, right? As they're moving through their concerns. And I do think that eventually, I think it's not going to only be in clinics. I mean, I think doctors, clinics, they should be the first ones. That help people in this way. But I really think there's going to be like hydrogen kiosks, and there's going to be places of, wellness that don't require any medical person, to manage it. Yeah. People should be able to receive this. This is just like drinking filtered water. We should be able to inhale hydrogen, Yeah. So that's why I feel like it's the next big thing. And me personally, I said, I've been on a mission, and I've really been thinking about like aligning everything with my values and who I am. And there's so many things that if I'm really real about it, that I can't really stand by or align myself with, the more and more conscious I become. And hydrogen fits not only who I am today, but it fits the future. And I believe that I want to be talking about things that, I could give to my grandmother, or, to my child, or to my mom and dad, and feel 100% certain that I am giving them good advice, that it's going to be good for them. And so these are the types of questions that I think all of us get to ask ourselves, is we only have a certain amount of energy and time. And if we're going to use our voice, what are you going to use your voice for? Right. Yeah. And so this is the reason I think we are having an awakening in the medical field. And a lot of people are feeling these types of conflicts within themselves and what they're doing. And they want to first help themselves, obviously, be vibrant and live these amazing lives that we can model health. And as we do that, you're going to see a lot of the stuff that we've been doing in the past doesn't make sense. And we want to invest our time and energy into things that really do make a difference for us. And then we want to share that with other people. And this is really how collectively I think we're going to be better, for ourselves and everyone, and change things. And so it's just a movement in the right direction. Like I said, eventually I think we are very powerful in the way that we think and the choices we make. But until we all realize that, we need tools that do no harm and that can help us function at our peak level, our peak.
Yeah, I think people are starting to realize it. I mean, I'm a firm believer that we are all children of God, regardless of what religion you believe in. We come from something. And when we can tap into that divine source, there's infinite potential. We can create things like a hydrogen device, and we're the only creature that can actually bring to life our own thoughts and ideas. And this, like you said, it's in alignment with the conscious collective, the movement of everything. And even these peptides, which are great and have changed people's lives, we still don't have any data on them. They're still relatively new. We don't know the negative implications of doing peptide therapy and some of these therapies and this has no negative effect. It's something that our bodies are already consuming and using. Now we're just supplementing it at such a better level.
Yeah. And I think the source of peptides, the source of all these things, it's like, where is it coming from? Is it coming from what country? Who's making
China?
China.
Like 97% of them are.
Could you check the source? We can't. So it's like, I think even intuitively, we all know, we're like, yeah, I'm trusting because I'm trusting the name it says here, and the doctor told me to do this. But we don't really know. So I think it just feels great to be like, okay, This is a machine. It's creating hydrogen. You can test it with a hydrogen thermometer. I mean, you can like see it.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's, like I said, it's like, It's just aligning with something that I feel like we all want to feel more confident
Right.
about our
Yeah.
choices in life. And we have that tool.
Yeah. Well said.
Absolutely. Doctor, where can people find you? Where can they stay connected with you? If they have questions about hydrogen therapy, anti-aging, functional health, what's the best way to reach you?
Right now, I believe by email, that would probably be the best. So it's
Email?
email. Yeah. I mean, I have a website page, but it's just so basic. But DRJELENA at DRJELENA PETKOVIC, Petkovic, Dr. Yelena Petkovic. Yeah. So that's probably the best way people can find me.
Perfect.
I have an Instagram page and it's pretty popular, but it's all about God. So
It's all about what?
it's like an evangelistic page, so it's more spiritual, right? So it's
Yeah. Hey, well, you might want to put that up because I'm all about spiritual development, personal development too. So, a lot of my listeners would probably be interested in that. So what's your Instagram handle for
just
people
my
to?
name. It's Yelena Petkovic ____. Yelena
Okay,
Petkovic
great.
____. Yeah.
Yelena, well, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you coming on. Looking forward to hopefully, diving in a little bit deeper when we have more time in like a second round interview or a second round podcast and kind of just diving in a little bit more to some of the other things that we discussed. Appreciate you, Mick, for coming on as well. I'm super excited for this. This seems like revolutionary. I'm excited. I'm really blessed and grateful that I get to work on this project with you, Mick.
Thank you. Thank you. Likewise.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll chat later.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Have a good day.